them. And it's a very serious crime. In fact, it's one of the largest, if not the largest, RICO case in New York's history.
According to the documents, he knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services.
It all started with what should have been a simple feel-good moment, a star-studded performance at a presidential inauguration. Carrie Underwood, America's country darling, stepped onto the stage at Donald Trump's second swearing-in ceremony, her voice soaring with the opening notes of "America the Beautiful." Standing there in her glittering gown, framed by the Capitol, her golden voice rang out in tribute to a nation divided yet still searching for unity. But what was supposed to be a shining moment of patriotic pride quickly became the spark for one of the most explosive celebrity controversies in recent memory. What followed wasn't just backlash, it was a firestorm that would leave scorched earth in its wake, pulling everyone from The View's Sunny Hostin to Joe Rogan into its orbit, ultimately resulting in a lawsuit that rocked the entertainment world. And trust us, this wasn't just about a song.
Inauguration news today is not Pelosi. Yesterday it was Michelle. It's Carrie Underwood. And apparently she's losing all sorts of fan groups. The LGBTQ community in particular, I guess, is very upset about the fact that she's agreed to sing at the inauguration. And she's saying, I love my country. I think this is a great chance to express that love and participate.
The cracks appeared almost immediately. Carrie's performance hadn't even reached its final crescendo before social media erupted. Thousands of tweets and posts flooded the internet, some praising her for her courage and talent, but others, oh others, were seething with fury. Hashtags like "Da boycott Carrie" and "Tar, Trump's sympathizer" began trending within hours. Fans who had once screamed her name at sold-out arenas were now tearing her apart in comment sections, accusing her of betrayal, of aligning herself with a man they called divisive, even dangerous. It wasn't just online trolls either. Major outlets picked up the story, rehashing old divides: patriotism versus politics, entertainment versus activism. For some, the performance wasn't just a gig, it was a statement. And not everyone liked what it seemed to say.
Off of it, so I get why she did it.
I see.
I mean, right? It's country music. I think
I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't do it, even though I can't sing.
You would not sing?
No, I would not. I would not normalize him. And she says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this conviction.
Then came the gasoline on an already blazing fire. Sunny Hostin on The View. Sunny didn't hold back. She took Carrie's choice to perform at Trump's inauguration and framed it as a personal affront. Sitting at the famous table, she leaned in and delivered a scathing critique. According to Sunny, this wasn't just a patriotic performance. It was a slap in the face to American values. She called it disappointing, even hypocritical, questioning how someone could claim to love their country while singing for someone she referred to as a convicted felon. That last line, those two words, convicted, felon, detonated like a bomb across every platform imaginable. Clips from the show went viral within minutes, and Sunny, a seasoned media veteran, had to know exactly what she was doing. This wasn't just commentary, it was a full-blown character. Assassination.
Strongly about it. I think art is art, and you know, you have a right to perform where you want to perform. I agree with you, Joy. I can't sing a lick, but I certainly, and I have not been asked.
If I were asked, it would be a hard no. And the fallout? It was immediate, vicious, and relentless. Carrie Underwood's fan base, famously loyal and fiercely protective, came out swinging. They flooded Sunny's social media accounts with angry comments, calling her biased, uninformed, and even accusing her of using her platform irresponsibly. The View's Instagram and Twitter pages were overrun with demands for an apology, or worse, her resignation. But Sunny wasn't backing down. In fact, her next appearance on the show only doubled down on her stance. She dismissed the backlash as misguided noise and reiterated her criticism, this time with an even sharper edge. She painted Carrie not just as complicit, but as someone actively choosing to align herself with a political figure who, in Sunny's eyes, represented everything wrong with the country. It wasn't just a critique anymore, it was a full-on persona attack.
insurance companies, from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraud.
But if Sunny thought she could steer this narrative her way, she seriously underestimated the storm she had unleashed. Carrie Underwood wasn't about to let this slide. In a move that shocked even her most devoted fans, Carrie made a rare public statement, breaking her usual silence on controversies. She defended her performance, framing it as an apolitical expression of her love for her country. But behind the scenes, something much bigger was brewing. Within days, Carrie's legal team filed a defamation lawsuit against Sunny Host and several other hosts of The View. The lawsuit claimed that Sunny's comments went beyond mere critique. They were false, damaging, and delivered with reckless disregard for the truth. Just like that, this was no longer a simple celebrity feud. It had become a battle with real-world consequences.
So we know Sunny Hostin and her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, are preparing for a legal battle to fight accusations that
The lawsuit sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Defamation cases are rare, especially when it comes to public figures who are expected to withstand a certain level of criticism. But Carrie's legal team argued that this wasn't just criticism. It was a direct attack on her character, values, and even her career. The filing detailed how Sunny's remarks had negatively impacted Carrie's reputation, citing specific examples such as canceled sponsorships, lost bookings, and the intense online vitriol she endured. The legal language was brutal. The lawsuit painted a picture of Sunny as a media personality who had crossed the line, someone who wielded her platform irresponsibly, turning personal opinion into public condemnation without regard for the consequences.
And that's exactly what Carrie Underwood has taxed herself with. And let's be real, she hasn't come out and given any statement about her politics or how she feels about the 2024 election. So let her be her and let her love this country. We used to be under the umbrella of a shared love for country, but differences in politics. And now it's if you love your country.
Public opinion was predictably divided. On one side, Carrie's supporters saw the lawsuit as a courageous stand against the unchecked power of media giants. They praised her for fighting back, calling her a role model for anyone who has been bullied or misrepresented. On the other side, Sunny's defenders argued that she was simply exercising her right to free speech, pointing out that her comments were part of a broader conversation about politics and patriotism. But while the debate raged on, one thing was clear: this wasn't going to be resolved quickly or quietly.
Essentially saying that it's a money grab, and they're also going to countersue.
And just when things couldn't get any more dramatic, Joe Rogan, the king of podcasts, stepped into the spotlight. Famous for his unfiltered opinions, Rogan didn't miss the chance to weigh in on the controversy during his wildly popular show. He tore into Sunny Hostin and The View, calling it a sensationalist circus that thrives on outrage rather than thoughtful discussion. Rogan mocked Sunny's remarks, openly questioning her intelligence and credibility. "It's all hypocrisy," he declared, accusing her of turning Carrie into a scapegoat in a theatrical attempt to appear morally superior. If the internet was already burning, Rogan's words were like tossing jet fuel on the fire.
For millions of dollars, $5 million plus.
You're married, Tom, you're married.
Of course, Rogan didn't stop there. He took aim at The View as a whole, calling it Arabize-infested henhouse and accusing its hosts of pushing narratives designed to divide rather than inform clips. His rant went viral, almost instantly, racking up millions. Of views as fans and critics alike dissected his every word. For some, Rogan was the voice of reason, saying what no one else in the industry had the guts to say for others. He was just another loud voice adding fuel to an already volatile situation. But love him or hate him, one thing was undeniable. Rogan had just made himself a central figure in this increasingly messy saga.
If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to.
What started as a single performance had now exploded into a full-blown cultural flashpoint. Carrie Underwood was no longer just a country music star. She had become a symbol in a much larger debate about free speech, media responsibility, and the influence of celebrity. Sunny Hostin, once just one of many voices on The View, was now at the center of the storm, with every word she spoke picked apart and scrutinized. And then there was Joe Rogan, the unpredictable outsider who threw himself into the fray, turning up the heat and raising the stakes for everyone involved.
This cohort of queer fans of Underwood have spent more than a decade believing the singer supported them. Now they're in the midst of unraveling what it means to be suddenly shocked into a reality that does not.
But this story wasn't just about the individuals at the center. It was about something much bigger. It tapped into a deeper tension that had been simmering beneath American culture for years. At its core, this was about the collision of politics and entertainment, the fading line between criticism and defamation, and the ongoing struggle over who gets to shape the narrative in a world where everyone has a voice. As lawsuits mounted, debates raged on, and viral moments kept flooding the internet, one thing was becoming undeniable. This wasn't just a controversy, it was a reckoning.
Emanuel denied the allegations via a statement through his lawyer, telling Daily Mail that his client, quote, denies each and every allegation and that the lawsuit is a blanket.
It seemed things couldn't spiral any further. Cracks began to form in Sunny Hostin's world. For all her boldness and unshakable defiance, quiet whispers started to grow louder. And they weren't just coming from the public. Inside the polished corridors of ABC, the network behind The View, discomfort was setting in. Sunny's fiery takes, once seen as her trademark unapologetic style, were beginning to look more like a liability. Behind closed doors, producers were reportedly holding urgent meetings, carefully weighing the fallout. Was she worth the noise? And more critically, could the show survive the mounting backlash? Signs of internal strain were everywhere. Tensions behind the scenes were reaching a boiling point. Leaked reports suggested ABC executives were divided on how to handle the situation. On one hand, Sunny was ratings gold. Every time she spoke, social media exploded. On the other, the backlash had grown far beyond fleeting outrage. It was starting to stick. Advertisers were reportedly growing uneasy, with whispers of a few deals quietly being pulled amid the controversy. The View had always sparked cultural debate, but this time, it was different. This wasn't just about politics, it was about trust. And once trust is broken, rebuilding it is nearly impossible.
Sunny Hostin on The View, Tom, basically implicating her husband.
Sunny, for her part, appeared unfazed. Or at least, that's the image she projected to the world. On air, she stood firm, doubling down on her comments about Carrie Underwood and refusing to offer even the slightest apology. But behind the scenes, the pressure was mounting. Sources close to the production revealed that Sunny had become increasingly isolated. The usual chemistry she shared with her co-hosts had shifted, now laced with tension. Alyssa Farah Griffin, who had publicly sparred with Sunny before, was reportedly growing frustrated with the constant controversies. Even Whoopi Goldberg, the seasoned anchor known for navigating scandal with grace, was said to be losing patience. And then there was Joy Behar. Never one to hold back her opinions, she now found herself caught in the middle, trying to play peacemaker while the show appeared to drift further off course.
In this type of a scheme.
Now, he's just accused, and this accused in a lawsuit after some time of investigation.
But the storm surrounding The View wasn't just fueled by internal tension. The lawsuit filed by Carrie Underwood was quickly gaining momentum. What initially seemed like a celebrity feud had evolved into a serious legal threat. Legal analysts began breaking down every word of Sunny Hostin's comments and every line of Carrie's legal argument. The emerging consensus: Sunny could be in real trouble. Defamation lawsuits are notoriously difficult to win, but Carrie's legal team had built a sharp, strategic case. They weren't just targeting Sunny's remarks, they were taking aim at the culture of The View itself, portraying it as a platform that thrived on outrage and recklessness at the expense of truth. Though ABC publicly stood by Sunny, the lawsuit posed a threat far greater than just to her reputation. If the case went to trial, it wouldn't be just Sunny on the stand. The entire network could be dragged into the spotlight, and just when it seemed the stakes couldn't get any higher, Joe Rogan came back swinging. His first explosive takedown of Sunny and The View had already gone viral. But he wasn't finished. In a follow-up episode of his podcast, Rogan escalated the feud, presenting what he called receipts to support his accusations of hypocrisy. He aired old clips of the show where hosts had contradicted their current stances, shifting their tone based on the political climate. One clip hit especially hard. It showed the panel laughing and joking with Donald Trump during his pre-presidency. Days, a stark contrast to their current criticism of him. Rogan aired the footage side by side, calling it a masterclass in opportunism. The internet erupted. For every voice defending Sunny, there were twice as many reposting Rogan's clips, calling out what they saw as blatant double standards. But Rogan didn't stop there. He went after Sunny personally, digging into her background and questioning her credibility. He accused her of using her platform to settle personal scores, branding her style as performative outrage dressed up as moral authority. Some dismissed Rogan's attack as yet another attention grab, but others began to wonder if he was striking a deeper chord. Was Sunny's criticism of Carrie Underwood really about patriotism, or was it rooted in something more personal? Rogan's commentary opened the floodgates of speculation. Soon, Sunny's name was trending again, this time alongside hashtags questioning her integrity.
Oh, no one else had any
So there we are. No, we've had people like Reba McEntire come on and say that, she doesn't want to talk about politics. She just wants to sing, she wants to perform, she wants to make people feel good. And I respect that. And then we've had people like Dolly Parton, and I think you asked her,
Are you a feminist?
And
meanwhile, inside ABC, the tension had reached a breaking point. Executives were reportedly scrambling to contain the fallout, but the damage had already been done. While ratings for The View remained steady, the show's reputation was taking a serious hit. The comment sections under its official posts were flooded with criticism, with viewers demanding accountability. Some called for Sunny Hostin to be suspended, or even fired. Others went further, questioning whether The View had outlived its relevance altogether. What was once a celebrated panel of outspoken women was now being portrayed as a toxic environment, more focused on provoking outrage than encouraging meaningful conversation.
Host Sunny Hostin's husband, Emmanuel Hostin, has been...
Then came the leaks, whispers that ABC was considering drastic moves to save the show's reputation. Some reports claimed producers were quietly exploring options to replace Sunny Hostin, though finding someone with her unique mix of legal, expertise, and media savvy wouldn't be easy. Others speculated the network might go even further, reformatting The View entirely, or, if the backlash kept growing, pulling the plug altogether. The show had survived controversies before, but this one felt different. This wasn't just a storm. It was an earthquake, threatening to shake the very foundation of The View. But while the drama around the show held the public's attention, Sunny faced yet another challenge, one that had nothing to do with Carrie Underwood or Joe Rogan. Her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Dre Holston, had just been named in a sweeping federal lawsuit accusing him of insurance fraud. The allegations were serious, claims that he had performed unnecessary surgeries and billed insurers for treatments that were exaggerated or never even happened. Sunny publicly defended him, calling the lawsuit a baseless attack on his character. But the timing couldn't have been worse. The accusations only intensified the spotlight, giving her critics even more reason to question her credibility.
Largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York. You guys wrap that around your...
As the lawsuits mounted and the controversies spiraled, one question lingered. How much more could Sunny, The View, and ABC withstand? The pressure was coming from all sides. Legal battles, public backlash, and behind-the-scenes tension. With no clear end in sight, would Sunny Hostin weather the storm and emerge unscathed? Or was she standing at the edge of a dramatic fall from grace? Could The View survive the chaos, or was this the beginning of the end for one of daytime television's most iconic shows? Now, we turn it over to you. Is Sunny Hostin a target of unfair scrutiny, or has she finally crossed the line? Is Carrie Underwood's lawsuit a powerful stand for accountability, or just another celebrity feud blown out of proportion? And Joe Rogan, is he speaking hard truths, or simply stirring the pot? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, stay tuned. This story is far from over. See you in the next one.